Hello and welcome to a little crazy boat renovations. And as you can see, we've lifted the roof up onto the boat, fitted in place with the screen loosely, literally loosely, only a few screws holding everything to this point fitted nicely. Unfortunately, we have got a problem at the top. Now up on the boat, as you can see, the screen is fitted round to there. Now all of that looks good, the measurements all look good. The other side meets up exactly with the opposite side. The problem is this part of the screen here, it just does not fit in. Now if it was a couple of millimeters out, no problem, we just adjust, but we're actually talking of an inch out. So out on the top front of the boat now, where the screen is, so when I say it's an inch out, it's slightly shaped, but the bottom of the frame comes down and out to here. The top of the frame goes inside, stops about there, and then goes diagonally up to there. And as it comes down and comes out again by an inch to there. So in other words, the whole frame is twisted like that over the glass. But at the moment, can't for the life of me figure out why that's done that, because the glass should dictate the frame, I would have thought. A bit like a crossword, when you think you've got the word to go into a space but it's not the correct word, and no matter how many times you think about it, you keep coming up with the same word, and that's what's happening here. So we've had to take a bit of a break from it. I've got the glass in and frame in the workshop. I'm going to strip it down. I've measured it all at the moment as it is in situ. I've just come up here to measure up to make sure that the sizing is correct. Then I'll strip it all down. I'll probably bring the frame up itself just to make sure it fits in here, and if it does fit in here, that's something to do with the seals that we've put round and possibly the joining brackets at the corners, but we won't know that until we get it all measured and stripped down. Right, on here I've just drawn out the shape of the frame, put the measurements on in inches. Now you can see it's 20.5 each side, it's 38.5 along the bottom, 36 along the top. And I've just taken these measurements across the bottom, up the sides, across the top, all exactly the same. So it's obviously, as it's gone together with the glass in it, that it's pushed it out of shape by quite some way. I still can't get my head around how that's made it so different, not by an inch, but I'll have to play about with it and see what we can do about it, because obviously the last option, and I don't really want to do it, is to have the frame made up exactly how we've got it there to go in there, and then have the glass recut. The glass came out, the frame came out, as it all did, it should all go back in, so we'll just keep plugging away at it. So here we are in the workshop with the glass on the table. All the measurements measure exactly the same as the boat, all these lengths and side pieces. The difference in the length is when I measure across diagonals. Yeah. So what we've got at the moment on this diagonal, we've got 42.25. It should be 43.25. Then on this diagonal we've got 42 1/4, should be 41 3/4. So somehow I've got to adjust the glass inside the frame to meet up with those measurements. What I've done now is taken the glass out. I marked on the bench at the corners where the existing frame with that glass was sitting. Okay, and then what I've done is I've loosely put the frame together so it's not actually screwed, but then I've moved it over slightly to where it should be according to the proper measurements. Okay, so the glass all still, the frame all still fits together in its proper place, which means that these tabs here will have to be bent slightly more, but it's all dependent on whether the glass sits on that shape. Now it should do because obviously it came out of there, so we'll just have a go at that now. Right, I've put the glass on the top and it does sit there in its correct places. So what's been happening is the frame, the first part of the frame, when it's being put on, it's being put on slightly off where it should be, and then from that point on the rest of the frame is dictated to how it goes on. So it's essential that if I start with this lower frame here, that I get it in exactly the right position, because as I say, then it dictates the rest of it. And I think when we first put this on, what we were doing is lining it up. So with the glass, we were probably lining it up with the glass. Could have been lining it up with this point over here, I don't know. But that's what's caused the whole thing to shift slightly. And then not going. It is hard. I must admit, it is hard putting it in with the new seals. It's very hard, and you will tend to move things when you shouldn't be, as you're trying to set it all up properly. But it just means going at it again and again. Don't get frustrated with it, and certainly don't lob the screen as I was going to yesterday, because I was really cheesed off with it. Just take 5 minutes out, have a cup of coffee, come back to it, have a rethink. But you know, we get there in the end. Well, despite my earlier optimism, I just couldn't get the glass to fit the frame and be the correct shape to go onto the screen. 3 other people had a look, same results, so unfortunately it's a fail. So cut my losses. I templated the glass as it should be, sent away, and had a new one made, and now it's all installed. So job finished, let's move on.